Got a deep shot, mid-range. Are you kidding me? Geno Crandall has come ready to play.
Ain't gotta wait to make them moves, I be loaded. Why you watching drinking 40s? I just told it. Still that same.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode. The Road Series. Jay Swish reporting live from Lake Wabisa over at Nikki's Place Still Azo in Madison, Wisconsin. To be exact, just outside of Madison, Wisconsin, right next door to a good guy that just recently retired, Humble Joe Pavelski. What a career he had, man. Over 1,300 matches, all-time leader as an American for playoff tucks. This guy, Azo, not to dive too much into his personal life because who am I to say, but I think this guy might be addicted to fishing. He's going out there every morning at like 4:45 in the morning, and he'll fish until 9. I think he comes in, hangs out with his kid for a little bit, then he'll go out for a midday shift, 1 to 3, and then he's back on the boat out there again, ripping lips, muskies in particular, at about 7 to 9 p.m. And then he's back in the house and he's up again. I think every time I see him when I'm rolling in and out of Nikki's Place here, he's either in the water or he's in the garage next door, just, Jimmy rigging some sort of lure he's about to put in or fixing a pole or whatever he's doing.
Big Buff does that too.
Yeah, I think this guy could be like a pro fisherman because the hogs he's ripping, these pictures that he's sending Nick every day, it's like 43-inch muskie, 50-inch muskie, 49. It's just some of these guys, they got it all. Whatever they do, he's a stick on the golf course. Obviously at the Am Fam the other week, he finished second place over at Lake Tahoe. And then he comes over here to Lake Wabisa. And I mean, how do you just catch that many fish? Like, you have to be a good fisherman, right? Like, I got on the lake the other day and I actually caught myself a nice bass, a nice smallmouth. It was about a 5-pounder. I was fired up about it. People were giving me the business because I had a glove on, but that thing was leaking oil all over me. It shit on me. It was bleeding. We couldn't get the hook out, so I had to put the glove on. It wasn't a Franklin, but it was a glove. But I was getting chirped by all these beauties, especially Wisconsin guys, Grand Forks, Northern Minnesota. You fucking pussy, you got a glove on. So what I'm saying is I had the domer on my fucking hand. So what of it? But what I'm saying, long story short or short story long here, is there's actually some skill that goes into fishing, no?
100% there is. You can definitely be good at it. The thing about fishing is I don't know if these guys are actually addicted to the actual fishing portion, because what goes into fishing is a lot more.
Yes.
Than the actual fishing part. You got to get your lures. You got to set the line. You got to set it up. You got to make sure you got everything. The preparation that goes into it it's almost like, sharpening a knife before you chop down a tree. It's like you're going to sharpen the knife longer than you're chopping down the tree.
And how the hell do you even know what kind of bait to put on there, whether it's a worm or it's crankbait or it's some sort of lure you're putting in there? Do you use a bobber? All these little tricks of the trade of fishing, I have no idea. But you know what? Me and Nikki went over to this place called Dorn, which is a fishing store the other day last week. He was getting a new muskie rod, and it's in the bottom shelf of an Ace Hardware. And I'll tell you what, Azo, walking in there as a guy that knows nothing about fishing, I felt pretty nails walking out of there. I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to get out there and rip some shit. I'm walking down different rods, the old Rod Tidwell, Rod Stewart. I'm seeing all these rods, Rod Brindamore, all these rods around. And I'm like, fuck, do I buy one? Fuck, do I buy a $40 muskie bait? Like, these things aren't cheap either. Like, you can spend whatever you want. It's like buying a nice bike the guys in the Tour de France use, or a nice golf set. Like, this in itself, I didn't realize. I mean, I do realize how big the fishing community is, but once you kind of, you're on the outside for so many years, like, I've done a little bit of fishing, Azo, in terms of some deep sea stuff in Florida on vacation. Sometimes you go to Devil's Lake or whatever it was once or twice a year and go rip some walleye or northern, but I'm not saying I'm a fisherman. I'm not, fish over here, Mike Fisher. No. I'm just a guy that should probably know more about the outdoors being from Wisconsin, but I kind of got city roots in me. So I know you're a little bit more of a fisherman than me, but man, it's fun, especially when you're just right on a lake too. It's like, what else are you going to do? It's either you go golf or you go fish, and the fishing department is 10 paces away.
It's all time. And fishing's great. It's funny because, in my eyes, now, unless you're Joe Pavelski or Nikki Schmaltz, where you got time to do both golfing and fishing.
Yep.
Most normal humans, someone like myself, I only got time for one. You know, it's either fishing or golf. And
Right.
it's kind of the same for my dad. And I always used to ask my dad, you know, because he likes fishing more than golf. He's a fisher. He hunts too. So I always used to ask, like, why don't you play golf? And he's like, his excuse was always like, oh, golf's too expensive. You know, it's like $100 per round, and then you got to buy balls and sticks, and yeah, it is expensive. But look inside your fucking tackle box, buddy. You got 8 rods. You got, I mean, how many like rigs and lures and everything? Like, you got more in your tackle box, in your rods, than I do in my golf set.
Yes.
But and then you're driving out, you got a boat, you got a couple boats, you know, you got all this stuff. And it's like you're spending more money than I am on fishing. But
Right.
he loves it. I mean, it is awesome, and you can be good at it. Like, whenever I go out with him, you know, you're just trying different things every time because you don't know. You know, like maybe the fish like purple or pink, a pink lure today. Maybe they like, live bait. Maybe they want a spinner on there. Maybe you're fishing with a bobber. I don't know. It just switches up, and I just kind of listen to my dad whenever he's doing it. But it's relaxing, and it's rewarding when you finally do. I mean, if you're hammering them out there, it's an unbelievable time.
Yeah, there's no better feeling when you got something on that lure in the bait's biting. And then the funny thing is like the old like musky way too, like the figure eight, where you kind of like you pull it all the way in your line, and then you're doing a figure eight to hopefully have these things chase it. But I always say, Azo, did you catch anything out there other than a buzz? Because I don't have a ton of luck, but I did get a smallmouth last week. I was fired up last Friday, so actually a fatter pig. So I was fired up. I got one and done. I think I might get out there maybe tonight before we take off to Minneapolis tomorrow. But Azo, as we always do over here at Live in 5, as we get into the pre-show here, we plug our YouTube page. We're over 1,000 subscribers now, so now we can start diving into the YouTube ads, but we want to keep pumping these numbers up. People are starting to be accustomed to it. We're getting more views on our YouTube page, so that's where we want to send and direct all of our traffic. So, folks, if you haven't yet, again, it does not cost you anything. It is free fucking 99. Go over to our YouTube page. That is at Live in 5 2024, and please like that, subscribe, again, comment on our videos, share our videos, all our shorts in terms of our social clips, they're all on there, like I always say. So please go like that, subscribe. Again, our numbers are going up, baby. It's like Apple stock in 2003 right now, so they are
argue with us in the comments, argue with us.
Yeah, just chirp us. I like the one guy that I forget his name, and I'm sorry, my friend, you are a avid listener. He always chirps us about talking about the NBA, the association. I love that because we have a guy today coming on the show, and Geno Crandall, who is actually hooped. So we do have a guy that plays pro ball overseas in, I believe it's Israel, which is a really good league. So I can't wait to talk to Geno. He's a guy that played at the University of North Dakota for 3 years, Azo, I believe, maybe 4, and then actually transferred over to Gonzaga as a grad student. So he's a really good player. Can't wait to talk ball today with him, a little maybe Olympic talk, and just kind of get into the association in terms of who he thinks is good. I got some questions for him, so I'm fired up for that. But again, brought to you always by Butter Golf and Mini Movers. Mini Movers, the official moving company of Live in 5. Head over to minimovers.com. Again, as I always say, slide into their DMs at the Mini Movers on Instagram as well on X. And again, maybe if they don't respond right away, well, we got the captain sitting right here, Gage Ausmus, so he will give you a free quote if you need something moved. Azo, I might have to chat after this off air. My parents are going to be moving out of Madison, Wisconsin. They're placed in Phoenix, Scottsdale, actually right into the chin of Camelback Mountain over in Scottsdale. Is finished in November or December. They have some artwork that they need delivered down to the desert. And obviously, they don't want to drive with this because it's pretty expensive stuff. So I was going to have my dad, Mike, a.k.a. the Fuzz Schmaltz, give you a call just to chat about it, right? If it makes sense for him to rent his own rig, drive it down there, or maybe gives the Mini Movers a call, and maybe you guys can do that job. So he's going to be giving you a call shortly, probably in the next 1 or 2 months as they get down to the chin of AZ. My mom is going to be retiring from the hospital. So that is all good over at Mini Movers. Again, Butter Golf is the official lifestyle and merch company of Live in 5. Head over to butter.golf. Check out our hats, our rally hats, the one that was featured in the Amazon feature of the NHL players coming up with Willie Nylander, Willie Styles rocking the rally cap. Go check them out. I just restocked those, so go check those out. Again, our newest drop coming out here hopefully soon. As we always do, we plug our other sponsorship from Dr. George and the good fellas over at Gladiator Therapeutics. Folks, are you tired of dealing with chronic aches and pains or neurological conditions? Gladiator Therapeutics offers a revolutionary solution using quantum physics to improve your health. Our devices use patented technology to emit far infrared light, stimulating cellular processes without heat. This can reduce inflammation, speed up healing, and enhance mobility. Clinical trials show impressive results, including a 400% increase in survivability in stem cells, accelerated wound healing up to 68% faster, and significant improvements in Parkinson's disease models. Wearable 24/7 without power, our devices can be a game changer. Visit www.gladiatortherapeutics.com/contact _DRGM/ to learn more and start your journey to better health today. Azo, what's up, fella? We had some technical difficulties. Just a couple middle-aged assholes trying to sort it out on StreamYard. But, folks, we figured it out. It took us a little bit longer. Again, like we said, episode 47 featuring Geno Crandall, professional basketball player, plays over in Israel, I believe, this past year. So cannot wait to chat.
Germany, I think, Jordan.
Was it Germany?
I'm looking through this. I can't really tell. It says Israel, the last team, but then Germany. We're going to have to ask him about this because it's a little different overseas. But to get down to the point, I mean, Geno is just an unbelievable basketball player. He was my favorite basketball player at UND when I was there. He's unbelievable. You can watch highlights of him. He jams. I mean, it's, this guy's incredible. And it'll be fun to talk with him about, because I think, they play with different rules too, a little bit. Like they play hard.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a little bit more physical over there. The refereeing is not to what we would see maybe out of an NBA game where it's kind of like, it's almost like it's like a.
You can't like fake draw the foul like they call.
Yeah,
I don't think that plays.
Exactly. There's not as much drama. You can't sell the calls as much in the NBA. There's a little bit more contact. There's a little bit more hand grabbing, clutching. The picks are harder. So when those guys go over there, especially even for the Olympics, the game is different. You got to get used to the physicality. I don't know if you saw that clip of Devin Booker. I forget who they were playing, but it was an exhibition game where he took it hard to the rack, lowered his shoulder, Oswald, like he was driving the far post, willing to take the contact, lean into a guy, got a shot off and won. But yeah, Geno Crandall, also, he was a 2-time BBL back-to-back MVP, I believe, which is the British Basketball League, not to be confused with a BBL, like a lot of chicks in Miami get, BBL drizzy, like the Brazilian butt lift. This is the BBL Basketball League, and Geno was a 2-time MVP. So I can't wait to chat with him, man. He had great numbers at UND, almost averaged 15 per, I believe it was 15.3 points per game. So you know how much we love talking ball, especially me over here. But Azo, what's up, fella? Let's get into just what you got up to last weekend, what you got coming ahead. I mean, we got the Shane Gerchus wedding. I feel like we've seen the same group of assholes like the last month. So we're back at it Friday. I'm going to be driving to Minneapolis myself with Nikki and Abby tomorrow. We're getting into the chin sometime later that afternoon, as in tomorrow. So can't wait to get up to Minnie. The road trip and series has been like 2 weeks for me. So just life in a suitcase. But fella, how you doing? What'd you get up to this past weekend? Did you stay off the piss? Or did you board a little bit?
I stayed off Friday. Saturday had kind of a chill. I'll tell you, I did want to get into, since we were talking about fishing earlier, I just wanted to shout this guy out quick because I don't know if you've ever caught a catfish, Jordo. I never have.
I never have.
The Red River of the north up there is just flooded with them. And I've never caught one, but this guy, he reached out to me, Zach Bernier. He has started a fishing guide up there. He's a guide. He's got a guide service, and he said he can take us out and catch absolute hogs. He sent me a couple pictures, Jordo, of some of these fish, and I mean, they ain't no joke. Like, I'd love to catch that catfish. So
that's a pig.
If you're looking to catch a nice pig up on the Red River in Grand Forks, give Zach a call. I'm sure he can put you on him, and that's what it's all about. So I wanted to shout him out first. But no, Jordo, so Friday did absolutely nothing. because I had plans to golf with the Cowboys, which is Paul Adu, Keaton Thompson, and Luke Johnson. It was Luke's last Saturday in town. He's off to Russia this Saturday, I believe. So we went out. We had 18 holes scheduled, and then it was at 10:50. We had 18 holes scheduled on Saturday, and then we had a 5 p.m. dinner scheduled in Wayzata with the ladies.
Yep.
Okay. So after 18,
little Freddie couples.
After 18, we're all square. So we're like, well, you got to play a couple playoff holes.
Yeah. Well, you'd be rude.
Us out, see if we find a winner. We can't just come out here and tie. So we had to find a winner. We ended up playing another 9. After the 18, we actually all called the girls like, hey, we're gonna be a little late for dinner. We gotta solve this match. We're still tied. We're gonna play another 9, I think. So we're pushing dinner back to 6:30. Well, after that 27th hole, we're still tied again. So we got to go another 9. So we actually ended up playing, I think, 36 holes. And throughout that day, we had a couple drinks. We were actually more so golfing and trying to compete. It was fun.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious calling the girls. We all called at separate times, and we all watched each other call. Like, hey, how's it going?
Yep. How's it going?
We're still tied. We're gonna have to push dinner back an hour or two, but we're gonna play another 9. I hope that's okay. And none of the girls were really okay with it, but they're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever.
Right.
So they kind of gave us the go ahead. We all knew we were kind of being idiots about it, but it's like, come on, it's our last weekend it's our last Saturday with Luke. He's off to Russia, so give us this time, whatever. It's the last time I'll see Luke before he's in Russia. Well, I'll see him a couple other times after, but they don't know that.
Right.
But
you always got to sell it, right?
Yeah. And then we actually, we ended up going to Wayzata, and then we went to that Country Lanes bowling alley late night. Okay. We went there at 11, closed at 12.
Where's that at? Is that Shorewood?
It's like out by that like pizza joint, kind of near Excelsior.
Yeah. Okay.
Right over in that curve. It's close to Maynard's actually, and it's really old bowling alley. But anyways, we get in there.
Is that by like Tomer and Gersh's?
Yeah.
Old... Yeah.
Right
like
there.
Right, like Tonka Bay.
I think you've been there. Yeah. Right there. And it closes down at 12. We grease the guy to keep it open. So he lets us stay as late as we want. And Dewey ultimately ends up making a rule where before you roll the rock, you got to do a dance move. So we're kind of doing a little dance move before you roll the rock, and then you roll the rock, and we were just being idiots with it. It was unbelievable. I mean, bowling, I think, I don't know if I'd want to pick it up as a sober activity, but when you had a couple drinks, it's a great time all the time.
Bowling's all time, and rolling the rock on the piss is hilarious too, and I like that rule that Ledoux implemented. You have to do a dance move.
It was like the cosmic lights, and I had a black shirt on, and I don't know if I had dead skin on it or whatnot, but you got the black lights on, and my black shirt had a bunch of like white spots on it. I don't know what it was from. So everyone's like, "What do you got on your shirt?" It kind of sucked. I didn't like going through that, but it was just it was a good time, good vibes in there.
You had the night fever, and you're at the bowling alley rolling the rock. I love that. Azo, I was, Friday, I kept up the wall too. I fished a little bit. We went to Toby's. Shout out to Toby's Supper Club, McFarland, Wisconsin. Great little Wisconsin place.
Looks unreal.
They make a probably the stiffest old fashioned you'd ever have. It's about a 95.5 mix. And I had 2 of those, and that's straight 87 unleaded in terms of pure gasoline. So I had 2 of those because I knew the next day we were going to Chicago. So Toby's is known for their fish fry on Fridays. So we slid there, did that. And it's one of those spots, Ozzo, where you walk in and there's no reservations. So you just stand around the bar and they take your order. So they come around, you order your food. There's probably 30, 40 other people just around this little, not shitty, but old school, divey, Wisconsin, cherry wood bar. little. You're all packed in there. There's a couple high.
Are these all locals there, or is this kind of lake country where there's some out of towners coming in?
No, yeah, I would. There's maybe a couple out of towners, but it's mostly just locals.
Yeah.
And you kind of just sit around this bar, and there's some, like I said, there's some high top tables, like circle tables you can hang out. They have pull tabs. So the lady, her name is what is her name? Christy. She's known to be a little hands-on. So she'll come over, she'll kind of grab your ass a little bit. Maybe she gives you like a nice little shoulder rub. She'll take your order.
Like that.
I always go with the surf and turf. My Aunt Kelly actually goes surf and surf. So shout out to Kelly Schmaltz, who goes all surf, no turf. So I go surf and turf. I usually get the filet, I get the cod, and I maybe get a couple pieces of shrimp because the surf is a lot better than the turf. So they take your order, Azo, and then you just sit there and you just hammer drinks. I mean, people are funneling drinks because you're going to be waiting there for like an hour. And then all of a sudden, while you're just pissed up enough, they're like, all right, well, your table's ready. And you don't even know how long you've been there. You've been there for an hour. You've been there for 2. And they'll come seat you. But the great thing about Toby's is when you sit down, it just starts flying out. The first course, here comes the salad. And it's the old school supper club. So it's the salad, then it's the soup, then it's your entree, then it's the dessert.
That's nice.
It's all just
you get to mingle around the bar instead of the table.
And the system doesn't even make sense because it's absolutely stuffed in there to the point where you can't even, it's standing room only. You might as well, it could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours, it could be 3 hours. You might as well just get drunk and hang out. And then all of a sudden they come around, they're like, oh, your table's ready. And then they just snap it in. It doesn't make any sense. The system was like, how do they have it queued up in the kitchen, in the tiny kitchen with probably 30 tables they're serving? And then, okay, now your table's ready. You sit down and it just starts flying out and it's hot and it's ready. And it's so that is an all-time spot.
That's
it's a great system.
I love that.
During the week, Azo, they have cinnamon rolls. So before they seat you, they'll bring around cinnamon rolls for all the people in your party, and you're standing there doing pull tabs, and you get a cinnamon roll, and you have 3 or 4 old-fashioned sweets, as they like to do them there, the old brandy old-fashioned as opposed to whiskey. That's the difference between a Wisconsin old-fashioned and a normal one.
Brandy.
They have brandy in it, and they put actually a little bit of Sprite to sweeten it up, and oh my God, fella, it is so good. It is so good. So we did that, and then on Saturday, we went over down to Chicago, went to a Cubs game, went to a night game. It was all time. Nikki got us those 1914 passes where you go down below, you get the free drinks, you hang out. Actually, that fella from Barstool is there, that Hank Lockwood. I think he's like the producer or whatever.
Was he there?
Yeah, he was there with, we just kind of gave him the old 10 and 2, a little pumpernickel, but didn't really chat with him. But yeah, he was there in that club. And then, yeah, man, the best part about Chi, though, and the best part about Wrigleyville, I will say, is Sluggers. And Sluggers is a bar that on the bottom is a normal bar. Then you go up to level 2, Azo, and they have full-on batting cages where you don't need to wear a helmet.
No way.
You don't need to sign a waiver. You get in there. There's the old soft toss, which comes in at about 15. That's the one I did. Then they have the medium speed, which is probably 40, 45. And then on the far side, they have one you can crank up to like 70. And these guys are just absolutely wearing them like in on the hands of a shitty bat, and they're just drunk as hell. And it's just hilarious. Like, they got to be the only bar left in America where you can just go tits up, get in there, not sign a waiver, get your tokens, go into the batting cage, and just start throwing and chucking, just getting your hips through, trying to piss on nuggets down the line. Like, it was hilarious, man. It was so good. Yeah. So why
don't they have more of those?
I don't know. I didn't even know there was like, how is that still legal in America with just everything, just how soft it's gotten now?
Yeah, they're going to gentleman's rule that.
But they're not taking that out of Wrigleyville, and it was good to see because we got our cuts in pregame, a couple high noons, get in there. So great night. Actually ended up staying out way too late. Ran into a couple of my old buddies from Verona. Shout out to Louis Ellis, good chin, throws hard, and yeah, man, it was a good night. It's just one of those, you're trying to, you're trying to keep it under 15 for the day. And like you think you're pacing yourself, and then you wake up the next day and you're stung. You get home at 4 a.m, and you actually only had like 2 drinks an hour, but it was over 10 hours. So you end up having 20. You know what I mean? It's just like one way or another, you can't get rid of it. But I wanted to get into just, we didn't establish last week. We didn't do it. I don't know if we did a nail gun of the week last week, but we didn't talk about it. Number one, nail gun and Selly of the week, maybe of the year. I just want to just say it. It might be unanimous. It's got to be Donny Trump, right? Like, for better or worse, if you hate the guy, Selly and nail gun, the guy gets shot, The Selly is all time. He's
Without
no
a
Gibson
doubt.
and Braveheart with the war paint coming across the side of his cheek down to his chin. And he gets up and he gives it the old, fist. And then is golfing the next day. But what I wanted to get into, Ozzo, with you, did you see Trump golfing with Bryson? Did you see that episode? I just caught bits and pieces, but man, he was sawing him off. I mean, he had an eagle on one of those par fours. I know they were playing from the red tees and they do this like breaking 50 series, but he was inside of Bryson. No Diddy on that, by the way, inside of him on a couple par threes where he had the better egg. Like, he looked pretty good.
He's a good golfer. I mean, people. And for his age, it's actually it's impressive, And I don't know how he does it.
So he had 8 hole-in-ones.
Yeah, I mean, how many hole-in-ones do you say?
8. So he has 8.
I mean, yeah.
Bryson asked him. He goes, "Do you have a favorite? Do you have a hole-in-one story?" He goes, "No, but I have 8 of them. My last one is my favorite. I had with Ernie Els. 8 hole-in-ones.
What?
That's insane.
He's got 8?
Yes.
That guy, I mean, knowing Trump, that's probably 3 or 4, but
Right.
still. I mean, even to have a couple, more than a couple, is insane.
Right, like probably 3 or 4 of those were by himself,
Yeah, but Jordan, what I noticed about Trump was his putting. His putting stroke is hilarious. He brings it back like a centimeter, and then he accelerates through.
Yes.
And that's actually kind of how I think Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods putts. Like, most guys bring it back, and then they're even keel on the pullback and the follow through. Pulls it back short, hammers it through, accelerates. It's so funny watching. It's exactly how my older grandpa puts the ball as well. I don't know how they do it. I might try to do that now.
Yeah, I saw that. It was hilarious. His finish too. He holds the finish like he's sawing off a honey baked ham with a nice butcher knife. It's hilarious. It's like his form is like he's like bent over and he's just like holding it out there. Like
he's hunched over, like he's like a 90-degree angle, hunched over.
But like, all right, whether you like Sleepy Joe or you just hate Trump enough that you vote for Sleepy Joe, listen, I don't actually care. I don't care about politics at all. I'm just gonna be that guy to say that. I really don't. But if you're looking at that swing and that match and the way Donny stripes it, how many does Sleepy need to compete with Trump? Right now, Ozzo, they get into that debate. They get talking about golf. You're thinking about this. I think Biden might need 100 strokes if they're playing one-on-one. If they're doing the Capital One match, 18 holes, stroke play, they started today and they played that match. I think Sleepy might need 100 pops. Like,
brother, like
Trump is going to shoot 80 from the tees they're playing at about 5,800 yards, 6,000 yards. Sleepy doesn't even know what his first name is. He might piss his pants before he even gets to the range. He's going to shoot probably close to 200. Realistically.
Probably. I mean, if you're playing it as it lies, PGA rules, I mean, and here's the thing, Trump's a businessman. He's not a politician. Businessmen golf. Everyone knows that. You're making deals on the golf course. Politicians, they ain't golfers. They're just out making speeches. So Joe Biden doesn't have a chance.
It was so funny too. Did you see in those couple of those clips where Trump literally pulls the cart up like right next to the tee box, and then also on the green, he parks it right on the fringe. It's so good. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
On his own courses, he parks on the green.
Parks on the green. It's so funny. I mean, I guess if you're rolling the greens, like, what does it really matter? But say it's on a wet day and you peel out of there, like, you're fucking up the green for 3 or 4 months before it's normal. Like, the guy literally parked on the green. It was hilarious. He parks on the green, makes his eagle putt, and then like Bryson wanted to celebrate with him, and he's just like, no big deal, just got right back on the cart and just drove away. It was hilarious.
I gotta watch that. That's all time.
Yeah, I just saw some of the clips. So, Ozzo, speaking of nail guns, speaking of guys doing different things, we got a little bit of a new segment coming in here, but I wanted to touch on Joey Burrow. Did you see him go Slim Shady with the hair? Bro, I tweeted that out. I think I maybe threw an Instagram out like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, where I was like, I actually can't wait for my M&M blonde phase. Now, I don't know if Joey Burrow
I saw that.
saw my post, but he's stealing my thunder, and he takes that and rocks it. How do you think he looked with that Slim Shady look? I mean, he's better off being a pretty boy with that pretty boy swag, I think, with the locks hanging down. I don't know if he's really got that kind of Eminem jam, but he was probably getting chirped so hard by his teammates doing the fashion week, trying to, post about wheeling. Like, he was probably feeling the heat. He was like, fuck it, I got to get a little bit more sandpaper to my game.
I honestly, I don't know what it is. I kind of like that look. Like Brooks Koepka did it.
Yeah, it's nasty.
It's kind of nasty. Like, I don't want you to do it forever, but if you go through that little phase, I think it's nasty. It kind of makes me want to do it, but I don't think I can do that when I'm just like meeting customers and they have a business.
Right.
But it's a good look. I mean,
yeah, it kind of goes back to like the Life Got Crazy mullet, the Mike Stout, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a normal civilian like us, it's hard just to show up the next day at work and you just have the Slim Shady look like you're B Rabbit in 8 Mile, or you got the Morgan Wallen fade mullet. It's like, I don't know if that really plays as a normal 9-to-5 guy. Now, Joey Burrow looking good, but introducing this segment, Azo, of NFL quarterbacks if they were a store in the mall. So we're looking at just a name of guys, kind of like what we think a normal mall would be. You got your suburban mall outside of Madison, Wisconsin. Maybe you're going to Columbia Mall in Grand Forks. Maybe it's just a normal mall, say Ridgedale in Minnetonka. And they usually have the same kind of stores in there and pretty generic for the most part. So I would start it off with Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins as a store in the mall, to me, would be Eddie Bauer. You go in there, it's your suburban dad that has a little bit of an outdoorsman look, but a preppy touch on top of that with some icing around the cake. So you show up with the vest on, the old fall ball vest. You get the boot cut chino slacks that just look like you're a white boy nerd. Then you also just pair that with a button down of some sort of a polo, and you're just like the all-American dad hanging out in your backyard with your kids and your golden retriever, and your hair is just, that classic white boy just swipe across. Your wife probably cuts your hair. Maybe you go to a Super Cuts or a Great Clips, or maybe even the old Sports Clips for the MVP upgrade, where they give you a little bit of a rub and no tug. And you're just kind of that smiley, nerdy dad, that all-American dad that just keeps it pretty buttoned up, and you're an Eddie Bauer guy. There's nothing wrong with being an Eddie Bauer guy, but you don't have any style. You're kind of just stock with everything you wear. So that would, to me, would be Kirk Cousins. He's just the nice guy that you see on a billboard. That's Kirk Cousins, modeling for Eddie Bauer. One I had for you, Azo, I wanted to ask you, like, who would Aaron Rodgers be as a store?
Oh, man. A-Raj. This one's tough for me because he was the GOAT for a while. Now he's a little...
I know, he's like...
He was the GOAT for a while. Now he's a little, like, he still is the GOAT, but he's just he's a little edgy now. So,
right, like he found acid in ayahuasca.
Yeah, like he switched up his game a little bit. So I'm trying to think of something that has maybe switched up its game from where it's, you know what? I might even go, Lululemon. They started out with just workout clothes, which A-Raj was, and then, it's kind of like it was the GOAT store of the mall. When you went there, when you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to Lululemon. Mom's going to give me a nice T-shirt, maybe some sweatpants. And now you're going there and you got some stylish clothes in there, maybe some outlandish looks that you wouldn't think the traditional Lululemon has. So I might go with that one. I know there's a couple others that I'm not thinking of, but
like now Lululemon has like a lot of different tie-dye things. They have
they change it up a little bit.
They're tailing more to people with tattoos, and Aaron Rodgers gets a tattoo, a forearm sleeve at 38. Like that's kind of like his yoga. He's entering his yoga kind of era, right? It's a little bit more edgy. It's a little bit more bad boy. He's not vaccinated. He's kind of got like weird tattoos, like we were talking about the other week, of what guys do to get laid. It's like he's a compass on. Now he's a Mormon.
Yeah, and Lululemon said they don't want fat girls wearing They're
So yeah, that
they're
I like.
pets. So like that's a little Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, like walking around, grounding yourself every morning. You're going to get on a bed of rocks and just ground yourself because this feels better than wearing shoes. This is what I do. I'm a little bit like bad boy-ish, but at the same time, I still center myself every morning to keep my inner peace. And that's where the Lulu comes in with the yoga stuff. I like that, Ozzo. I'm going to slide it over to one I thought was hilarious and spot on. I wanted to get your reaction to it. It was Justin Herbert. He's Hollister all day. Like you walk in and he just blinds you with that cologne, the smell. It's like, hits your, it almost gives you a migraine. It's like, oh my God, is that Sex Panther? Use 60% of the time. It works every time. You walk in that store, your eyes, they're actually bloodshot when you walk out because there's so much goddamn fumes of perfume and cologne all mixing in one. And then you got the stock shirts in there that says Hollister. It's just a Cali SoCal bro that's going to wear a schmedium around the pipes. He's honestly resembles a lot to me of Sunshine. And remember the type.
Yes. Oh,
he
yeah.
is Sunshine.
He
is Hollister. He is Sunshine. He's going to wear that type of look. He's SoCal. He is plant-based. He hasn't always been plant-based, but now that he's in SoCal, he doesn't do the whey protein. He's very grounded in the sense of he's grass-fed, so he's smoking a little bit of doobies. He's just got that chill, bro, almost like tidal wave type of hair and looks like a Hollister model. That is Justin Herbert to a T. Moving right along, Ozzo, I had Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, can we agree on him? He's like Vineyard Vines. He's like, I want to tuck my shirt in. I want to wear a salmon-colored pair of slacks. I also will never have nothing on but a polo. And you bet your ass I wear boat shoes every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was thinking that's a great one. That or Old Navy. He just seems like an Old Navy guy, you know? Like, it's just, very just vanilla.
Very vanilla, very white, very proper, like crab cakes in football. That's what Maryland does. I don't even know where Purdy is from, but he just seems like that type of guy that's like no hair's out of place. He's going to look very presentable, like he's going to a country club that takes themselves way too seriously. That is Brock Purdy's game. That's what he does. He kind of just walks around probably on eggshells in an NFL locker room because he's scared of a lot of these guys. His teammates, they got way too much swag for him. But at the end of the day, he is the quarterback, so he has to find this, very professional look. So I like that one. Who do we have for Russell Wilson? He's like the black guy that is white 99% of the time until he gets in front of other black guys, and then he actually has to change how he talks, and he tries to act like he's got some gangster in him, but he actually has no gangster in him whatsoever. He should just try to be white. Like he's just, you know what I mean? Like
I was thinking he was like kind of that Express men's store.
Yeah.
It's kind of like flashy, but it's like trashy.
Right.
Or Gap, just a gay and proud kind of thing,
Yeah. I had Brooks Brothers written down just because, like, he's the type of guy that would wear the Air Brooks Brothers. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they're like the knockoff. What are the Cole Haans? Like, they're the knockoff Cole Haans, the Air Brooks Brothers. You always see them in the airport. They're trying to sell them. You can see, like, the businessman walk in there and buy, like, 3 new pairs because he's on his way from Detroit to New York City, and he buys the Air Brooks Brothers.
That's a good one.
He's walking in. He gets the suit that he thinks is nasty. It's got, like, a little bit of flash on it.
Oh, you know what I want to go with? You know what I want to go with on Danger Russ is J.C. Penney.
Yes.
Just used to be the biggest deal. Now he's just washed up loser.
Yes. Yeah, little lipstick on the pig there for Russ. But isn't it so funny with Russ? Like, and this isn't like racist or anything. It's just like an observation as a human. Like, he actually is the whitest guy ever. And then you see clips of him like talking with a rapper who's actually from the hood or another ball player or a basketball guy. And he's like doing the dap up, the shake up. And it's just so funny. Like
it's so weird.
Like,
Russ
like you're so white.
Yeah. Russ to me, when I look at him, I feel like he's got a good tan and he's a white boy.
This one I had Gardner Minshew. He's Plato's Closet. He's a secondhand store. The guy lives in an RV The whole goddamn offseason is a stabbing cabin. He just goes city to city, sees his buddies. I think he showers maybe once a month. He has a steady dose of dandruff in his hair, and he doesn't care. Does he own a deodorant stick? That's up for discussion. A toothbrush? God, no. He brushes his teeth with Redman. He's a guy that just pulls up in his RV, his old fucking camper / pickup / fuck shack, and he pulls up to a Plato's Closet or a Goodwill, and he goes in there and buys like an old school Rusty Wallace Miller Lite cutoff shirt and a pair of jean shorts, and he's all in out the door for $17.
I also got
everything.
I also got rag stock for Minshew.
Yes.
Get those old, the drug rug or whatever they call them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Because, he's sitting in the back of that bed and just tripping his tree off. He's got a steady dose of LSD, and he's just mentally flossing, trying to get the screws right for the next season. Be like, fuck, I got to go back to camp here soon. That's a great one, Ozzo. Jimmy Clausen. You remember Jimmy Clausen back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think he's done now. But to me, he is the definition of Pac's son. Like, that's the type of guy that's going to wear every skateboarding brand and every surfing brand known to man. You're going to walk out of there looking like Rob Dyrdek on a Friday, head to the Fantasy Factory, wearing DC, wearing Hurley, wearing all these skateboarding brands. Maybe even invest in a pair of Heelys. Probably walk out actually buying a board, buying a deck, but not buying any of the bearings or the wheels, just buying a deck and probably putting that like on top of right in front of his bar, just like says like, whatever, Journeys or whatever it is. Like, that's his decoration. That's what he does.
I love that.
I had Jimmy Clausen as a Pac Sun guy, just going in there way too cooked and buying something with a skateboarding brand. Lamar Jackson, I think, Ozzo, to me, I want to get your thoughts. To me, he's champ sports. Like 4-for-1 tall tees from Florida, go in there, buy 3 pair of Jordans, maybe a basketball jersey, 4 or 5 59 50s, and like back in Lamar's day, like probably sagging his pants down to like past his ass, just like straight up just football, just G shit. Like to me, he just like that athlete dude that walks in the champs and is like, give me that 4 for 5 tall pack. The pack of tall tees in there. You know what I mean? Like to me, he's like always wearing sports stuff and always wearing like baggy shit. Like,
for sure. That's a good one. I liked the Dak Prescott H&M because he's really good in the regular season and can't win a playoff game. So H&M, it looks really good when you buy it. It looks like it's designer, and then all of a sudden you wash it or wear it once and it's done. That's Dak.
That's a great one. And to follow that up, because you wash it once and it rips in half. Take that another step further. Tommy DeVito, aka Tommy Cutlets, is like your Italian uncle that comes over to fit you for a suit. And he's selling you on all these different fabrics, and you put it on one time and you take it to the dry cleaner and it actually rips in half before you even get to the wedding you're supposed to wear this 3-piece suit at. So to me, he's like your greasy Italian tailor friend that operates out of a local strip mall where 5 of the stores are closed and the only one that's open is the Italian tailor. And you go in there and you grease him down for like 4 suits for $1,500, where he starts you off at actually $2,000 per suit. So to me is Tommy Cutlets to a T. And the last one I had was Deshaun Watson. He doesn't want anything, actually. He doesn't want any clothes. He just wants a tug.
He's the guy sitting in the middle of the mall getting a rub right in the middle of the hallway. His face on that little pillow and just sitting there.
He's like, can you put up like a little bit of some sort of grandstand with some drapes and curtains around us, because I need to get sawed off right now. And if you can't do it, well, I do have my Maybach out front, and we can go in there, and I do have an array of lotions and essential oils, so we can get this thing done in roughly 6 minutes, and I will pay you for it. Yeah, he is for sure the kiosk Asian. He's the massage people right there, like hitting your back. That's where Deshaun's going. Ozzo, speaking of tugs, we should probably get to Geno Crandall. Is he waiting on the boys?
Yeah, he's waiting on us.
Okay, so I'm just going to do the people's term of the day quick. Speaking of tugs, I had Tug McGraw this week for the People's Insider Term of the Day. And what Tug McGraw is, Tug McGraw was a famous pitcher, if you know, actually Tim's dad, who ultimately didn't end up talking to him, or I don't know what exactly happened back in the day where, he didn't meet his dad, Tug, or they didn't really have a relationship until I think Tim obviously started making certified banger after banger. So how does this relate to life? How does this relate to anything? A little bit of context. Tug McGraw is when you're on the golf course and you hit an absolute tug. So what a tug is just like turning one over and hitting just a shitty shot. You just tug one to the left as a righty. And what it means is exactly that. So you tug one, Tug McGraw is what you'd say, like, oh, fella, look at that one. Jesus, you absolutely Tug McGraw that. So that is the People's Insider Term of the Week. You can use that, obviously, if you're tugging one off. You know what that means. So you'd be tugging McGraw. But a Tug McGraw is one of the funniest things to say, especially with the boys. You're getting a weekend game of golf going, and the guy just absolutely sprays one to the left and tugs the shit out of it, just turns it over on the screws. You're like, holy fuck. Tug McGraw, eh, fella? So that
highway don't care, baby.
Yeah, the highway don't care. And your ball doesn't care. So, folks, that is the People's Insider Term of the Day would be Tug McGraw. Boys, don't be spraying and praying. If you're tugging one on or off the golf course, well, do it with some consent. Azo, I think we should get over to Geno Crandall because that is our guest of the week. Again, this is the off season over here at Live in 5. So we try to spice it up. We're doing different things. Obviously, we'll bring back some of our segments, what guys do to get laid. We have another couple different things we want to introduce to the people just to spice it up. Keep it interesting, keep it cool, but above all, keep it safe and keep it sexy, baby. Azo, that was quick with you, my friend, but let's get over to Geno Crandall. Let's get the fella in. Hooper, the former UND Fighting Sioux Hooper, played at Gonzaga as well. I believe in his 5th or 6th year pro now, hooping overseas. So tape to tape with you, Azo, all day, my friend. That was episode number 48 on the Chin Fella. Woo!
Geno!
Yo, what's up? What's up? Can you hear me?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
So when we're looking at where you played last year, were you in the German league? Why did one of them say Israel? Were you in Israel
I started.
too?
Yeah, I started in Israel, and then as soon as like all that stuff started going on, like the league was on pause. Yeah, so they were like, "You want to come back?" I was like, "No."
Didn't Pat Bev just sign in Israel?
Yeah, he did. Crazy, man.
What up, Geno?
What's going on? How you
How
doing?
you doing, man? I'm Jordan.
Good. I'm good.
I think I watched you hoop a couple times at UND when you were there.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. You were saying you were in Israel and then you left?
Yeah, I was there to start the year, like made it all the way through preseason, and then literally the day that our first game was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff started going on. So then everything was put on pause, and I was like, I'm not going back out there.
Where did you end up playing this year? Was it Germany or was it back in
Yeah, it was in Germany.
Nice. Yeah, I was reading a little bit about you. You're a 2-time MVP of that British league.
Yeah.
Nice,
I know.
Man. Yeah, that's sick.
Couple years ago.
When do you got to go back, bro?
Still working that out. Probably within the next like 2 or 3 weeks. They got a bunch of guys going back this weekend, and they asked me, and I was like, "Nah, fuck that. I'm not going back this weekend."
Are you in Minneapolis right now?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. In Minneapolis. So it's just like so every league's different too. The German league, I don't know why. I think it's just because they're fucking Germans, like want to control everything. They want everybody back super early. Like don't have a game until mid-October is like the first regular season game. It's like you don't need me back in July still. Like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, like I can run 5s here. I'm good. And you hoop with that Jordan Taylor at all in the summer? Played at Wisco? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching him just like because I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from Madison, so I just went up watching him. He's nice with it, man. Good point guard.
No, JT's good. Yeah, he's my guy. I've known him like he was like I looked up to him, growing up, and then just through basketball, like you get closer with people kind of as you follow the same path. So he's like a mentor to me a little bit, and then the summers like work out with him and Good
Yeah.
dude, real cool. We used to go out a lot, but I don't go out as much. So
No,
Yeah,
you're
you
reining
have
it
to
in
do
or
I
what?
used to me
Yeah.
and Jordan used to. Now I got a family, man. It's hard to get away. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
You can't be
Like when
sliding
I
out
was in,
every Thursday through Sunday, you know?
like, but no, when I was in school, like he hit me up like, yo, let's go, drinks on me, whatever. You know, you're in
Yeah.
college, like, yeah, fuck, come on, let's do it.
Yeah. Is that Sam Decker? Do you know that name too? Is he over there hooping somewhere?
Yeah, he was in England in the UK the last 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
So he was on the same team as Jordan Taylor last year, actually. And then I don't know what he's doing. I know he's still trying to get back in the NBA, but
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah,
It's
it is
hard.
tough.
Do guys ever go over there and get back to the NBA?
Yeah, there's a good amount, like maybe good amount's not the right word, but it happens. You know,
Yeah.
if you're playing like extremely well. The NBA is so hard right now because like I feel like they value youth over everything. So like if you got two guys, maybe the older guy's even a little bit better, but they're like, you know, we can take this guy. We don't need him right now. We can take him and develop him over the course of 4 years and see where he's at then. You know, because it's like I tell people all the time, it's hard to get into the league because outside of the top, I don't know, 5 to 7 guys on every team, you know, those are the clear-cut top 100 players in the world.
Making 20
Like, the
million.
gap is like this. But then those bottom 5 guys on every roster, you know, are probably similar to a lot of high-level guys that are overseas. It's just connections, it's, you know, age, and then also what do you do? So like if you're a really just crazy, super athletic guy, you know, you're probably going to get a better look than somebody who might have more skill, but just doesn't fit the style. Like NBA is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like similar to hockey like that, where it's just like, you know, they're always looking for the younger guy that's maybe a little bit cheaper, that, you know, he's probably less experienced, obviously, probably not as good as an older veteran, but it's hard to get back. And it's just funny too, even seeing like Giannis, like his brothers, they're just always on the Bucks. It's like those guys have no business being in the NBA. And then the one was bitching like he wanted out of Milwaukee. It's like, fella, where are you going to go hoop now? You know, you might go back to Greece. You know, like, come on, know what you got, right? So
Right.
It's funny, but you got to see so many guys probably over there that are just like nasty. Like you're like, man, who is this? Like, is just you know, just guys that we would have no idea. Like, is there like one name that stands out to you? Do you know like one guy that's like, man, like this dude should be in the NBA? Like, is it like, I don't know, Kemba Walker was playing over there a couple years ago. Maybe he was I don't know if he was in Asia or Europe, but like some of these guys can still hoop at a serious level.
Yeah, for sure. Like Kemba this past season, he was in Monaco. Yeah, man. I hope maybe next year I'll try and do the summer league thing and see if I can get a foot in the door. But I like it over there too. Like it's a good life. So
yeah.
But as far as guys over there, there's a lot of guys, you know, and even every year you see young guys from over there get drafted. I think in my league this year we had 1 or 2 that got picked up that were like maybe 19 or 20 and had good years over there, you know, and then an NBA team is like, hey, all right, we're gonna take you in the second round, give you a shot. But yeah, man, the thing too is like there's so many leagues, right? Like each country has a league, and then, you know, you've got the top German league, the top Turkish league, the top Israeli league, the top French league, top Italy league, top Spanish league. You know, similar, I'm sure you guys know, like with hockey. And I didn't know that till I got over there. That like hockey was
same
big
thing.
globally. Like, yeah, I didn't know that. I just like, to me, it was like, okay, there's the NHL, and then maybe like Russia would have a league, a high level league. But, like, I know the league when I was in the UK playing basketball, like was able to go to some hockey, and like the arena seemed pretty big time. Germany's got a decent league, I've heard. Like,
yeah, I mean, I was in Switzerland and in Finland, so those are 2 leagues I played in. I would say probably Russia is the highest paying league over there. Then you have leagues like Sweden, Swiss are probably like the 2A, 2B kind of thing, and the German league's pretty good. But I wanted to ask you, like, what league, if you're trying to make the most cheddar playing ball, is it Russia that you have to go play in, or could you make it in some other countries? Like, what league is paying the best?
I would say right now, probably just from what I've heard, like my experiences and knowing people, probably China is where you're going to get the most. The the thing too, I don't know if it's similar in hockey. Like all the leagues have different rules with how many imports they can bring in. So how many non-native players. So I think China, like I've heard, you can maybe have like 2 guys on the team, like only 1 on the court at a time or something.
Yep.
So then, like with that in mind, like obviously the teams, that's where a lot of guys, like ex-NBA guys, end up going to China for a year or 2 because they're just paying a ton. And a lot of the Chinese teams, like you're getting 1 American. The American's job is just go over there, score a bunch of points, be entertaining. Like you're the 1 guy on your team. Like you have to do it. So they're gonna pay you to be the 1 guy, you know. And then after that, I would say Turkey pays well, Spain pays really well. Then
I feel like Spain would be a nasty country to hoop in. Like that would
it's Spain, like talent wise, I would say it's definitely looked at as like the #1 league over there, like top to bottom. It's the most competitive.
Yep.
The best teams. You got obviously Barcelona and Real Madrid, but even after that, like there's a ton of good teams. Baskonia, all the like the Spanish teams, Valencia. There's a ton of really good teams. It's a good league, super professional, a lot of ex-NBA guys. And they pay well, and you get to live in Spain. So that's what I'm saying. I know a lot of guys, like that's the goal. Like I'm hoping big year this year, and let's get to Spain.
Get me to Barcelona, get me to the wet deck of the W Hotel over there, so I can work on my base tan on some off days. But I feel like those Spanish guys, like a Ricky Sticky Rubio, like their handle is nice. Like a lot of these Spanish guys, like they got nice hands. Obviously, the soccer player kind of the good footwork.
Smooth with it.
Yeah, the salsa dancing, you're making it rain a little bit. Is the German league, did you find in that league versus, say, Great Britain or maybe even in Israel, was it like a little bit more like just like physical or a ground and pound, or it just like big Germans? I feel like they're just, even in hockey, they're just so like fucking huge, man. They're built like soldiers.
Yeah, no, I would say the German league for sure. It gets ugly at times. It's real physical. I would say over there in general, like for anybody that's not familiar with this like international style of play, it's more physical in general probably than what people are used to. Not saying like over here is not physical. College, I don't think it's too physical. The NBA is physical, but it's physical in a sense of like you got the biggest motherfuckers that play. Like these dudes are huge, But over there, they let you get away with a lot of like. There'll be times you're just getting beat up and you're looking at a ref and you're like, how is
and
that?
He's just laughing at you. I
always
so laugh.
Germany is definitely physical.
I always laugh, because when you watch the USA team go over and like play their first games of the Olympics or their prelims, they're all trying to draw fouls, and the refs just like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's like
no call.
Man, it's like the I think Joel Embiid right now has been struggling with it in their exhibition games that they've been playing, because he's really good at it, of like creating the contact, like for getting the defense in a bad spot to where now like he makes it clear, he rips through their arms or whatever, and it works in the NBA, and there's so much space, and kind of those refs are trained to see it, versus they get over there and play those exhibition games, and like you said, the first couple in the Olympics or in the World Cup, and some of the refs are like, that's not basketball. Like you're not trying to score, you're just trying to go draw fouls. So I'm not gonna call it. Like,
right.
I'm actually on the ref side on that, to be honest. I don't know if that's how you feel, Geno, but it's not basketball. You're trying to draw a foul, like Luka's like trying to just jump into a guy and then take a shot. It's like, just play basketball, man.
Yeah, I think there's a line, man. It's tough. Like there's some guys, like Embiid personally, I hate sometimes watching it. It's like, dude, you're bigger and stronger than everybody. Just go through them, finish, do your thing. But then like I said, there's a line. Sometimes I do it as well. Like if you're getting fouled, I'm gonna like make it apparent, sell it a little bit.
Sure.
But yeah, there's a line for sure that it's like, come on, man, just play basketball. Like let's
for sure. You got to be able to wear a few. Even like D Book the other night, I saw him taking it hard to the rack, kind of drawing some contact. I forget who the exhibition game was against, but he kind of just lowered his shoulder almost like a hockey guy driving to the far post, got some contact, wore it, and won the hard way, the old 3-point play, the old hard way. But and did you see his swag, Geno, in practice the other day? I don't know how your swag is during practice, but if I played hoops, you get a little bit more leeway, I think, in terms of how you get to rock. You got the pants you could rock a hoodie, you could rock the little Bill Belichick like half hoodie. But D Book took it to another level, fam, and he had the hoodie, he had the winter hat on.
Yeah, the beanie on. I don't know what he does it all
over the wood. It was unreal.
Oh, he does like I think even in the regular season, like there's clips of him in Phoenix practice where he's got the beanie on. I think that's just his thing. But yeah, those guys get a lot of freedom with like.
Yes.
I know guys that are in the NBA. Like I said, a lot of guys end up playing over there. And you ask them, and they're like, the culture is just so different from NBA to like overseas because we couldn't do none of that. Like you have to come head to toe, everybody wearing the same thing. You know, you can wear your shoes, whatever, but like they give us socks and are like, you have to wear these socks. You got to do this, do that, whatever. But like over there in the NBA, I guess it's as long as you're wearing something team related, they really don't care. They're like, be comfortable, whatever helps you be at your best. Which
and
I don't know how a beanie is gonna help you, but if
I know, and he had
you're killing. Go ahead, man. If you're killing,
it was so sick too because he had the 1-5 on the back to his number, and he's just like rocking on the top of his head, just making it rain. His shoes on, like he just looks so sick. That's like the one thing I think basketball dudes have like way better swag in terms of pulling up to a game. Like, Geno, I've always been like kind of a push the envelope guy in hockey, especially when I play. Like I would show up to a game or a practice, I'd be wearing like a velour jumpsuit. That's just what I did. Like, so I wanted to ask you, as a jumper guy that has a lot of jumpers in my closet, how's your jumper game? Do you have, the sweatsuit head to toe, or is that not really your look? Like, what are you pulling up to a game to, look good, feel good, play good? I always say, are they making you wear a suit? Like, what's your pregame fits? Are they dialed over there? Or is it just, you have to wear like some team issued shit?
Yeah, they usually like, so we have to like after every game, we got to go up to like have like a meal with like the VIPs and stuff. So they ask us to wear team stuff for that. And cause I'm lazy, I'll usually just wear like the team polo and then throw like a hoodie on over it with some jeans and some sneakers or whatever. But I remember back in college when I was at Gonzaga, like we had photographers in the tunnel and stuff. So we used to want to get fresh for all of that. But yeah, it's funny, man. I don't know where that stems from with basketball, right? Like I feel like for some reason, somewhere down the line, like it just got to a point where everybody was like, yo, this is what we're doing.
Yes.
And you see it now too with football. And I've seen a few hockey guys too that in the tunnel are trying to do their thing. I think it's good though. I think in like
it's huge.
You got such a team-oriented thing. Like it's nice to be able to have that individualism a little bit. Like you got to be who you are. And if that means you want to come in the team jumpsuit, cool. If that's who you are, go for it. If you want to come, like I'm with all of that. I don't always get dressed up, but I'm like I want to dress how I would feel for the day though.
Right. Like that's the thing in hockey was always you have to wear the suit and the tie. It's like, okay, that's cool to wear every once in a while. You got the nice 3-piece on, maybe you got something lined up after the game. But at the same time, if I want to come in with an AI jersey or some actual grip, why not? That can actually help me score tonight. I might put up 1 and 2 because I'm actually looking like this. I'm looking
feel good.
Get it.
No, I remember that. I used to like you guys for the hockey games always all dressed up, and I'm like, yo, even like because us for basketball, we had to wear jumpsuits. Like we had to wear the team jumpsuit. That was the rule when we were at UND. And I was always like, man, this shit sucks, bro. Like, like I would have almost rather been in the suit because I'm like, all right, at least you feel cool, you feel like fresh business. I'm just in here in the same shit I'm wearing around campus, like just the jumpsuit to the game. I wasn't feeling that. But no, I definitely think there's something to like, hey, let me go to the mall, pick out a fit, rock it to the game. Like you said, feel good, play good, then go and do the thing after,
100%. And Geno, I wanted to ask you, like I've watched a little bit of your tape. I see your highlights throughout the year. Like I said, I'm a big hoops guy, and Ozza will always send me your, you doing your thing. Obviously, 2-time British League MVP. But for the folks that don't know, what is your game like? Are you playing on the ball? Are you playing a little off the ball? Are you scoring? Are you facilitating? Like, what's your game like, my friend?
Yeah, definitely a heavy on the ball guy. Like just growing up, I was always smaller, so like they naturally like force you to be a point guard. So then just grew up always like initiating, having the ball in my hand. And then obviously just kind of built from there to the point where now, like I always joke with people, like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do when I don't have the ball. Like I just go stand somewhere and wait for it to come back to me. But no, heavy on the ball guy, like play ball screens, play ISO, create for myself, create for others. And then I would say the one maybe like unique thing about me is there's like always some flair. Like, I have a real, I feel like, maybe unorthodox way of looking at stuff, but like if I'm on the court and I see a gap or I see a play, like there's no like nothing in my head that says, hey, you can't make that play, you know, even if it's one hand behind the head or however you have to do it. If you see it, like feel it, make the play. Like I'm a big just feel guy. Like all the fundamentals go out the window sometimes, and it's just like, hey, get the ball there, get to this spot, get this shot off, whatever. And so I'll say like that's probably the best like explanation I can get for my game. Just heavy on the ball, and I like to add my little bit of sauce to it every now and then.
You turn into like a creative artist out there. Like you get creative, and then you're attacking, and then you're always doing something that's fun to watch. That's why, I mean, you're by far my favorite basketball player to watch in college, because it was like every time it seemed like you had the ball, you were going to do something that was like entertaining for the crowd. And usually it turned out good. I mean, you were easily the best player on that team. So, I mean, you're just an electrifying player to watch. And especially you had that jam this year that was just absolutely insane. And I know you know what I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about. That was.
I was going to say, are you playing above the rim, baby? Like, we got to get
Jesus. Nah, not as much anymore. I won't lie to you. That the funny thing about that, like I remember going into the week, like I was telling our strength and conditioning guys, like I was like, yo, my body feels kind of good. Like I got to try and get a dunk this weekend because this doesn't happen. Like I don't feel like this every week. Yeah. And then it was funny. Our coach, he put in a new play. Like he just was like, hey, I want to try this. And he asked me, I don't know why he asked me. Oh no, I was like he called, like he was naming a play, and then I was just making some funny gestures to one of my teammates, like while he was like diagramming it or whatever. And so he was trying to like pick on me, I guess, like was asking, all right, how many points are we going to score out of this weekend? Like shit, I don't know, like 8, 10, whatever. Like, so then as soon as I get in the game, because I came off the bench this past year, as soon as I get in the game, like he calls that the first play. So that was like my first play in the game of that game. And so it was like just kind of a good, like all the shit converged that needed to converge. My body felt good.
Yeah, the
I only had
felt good.
maybe like 5 dunks all year. Maybe
that's gotta feel better than like anything else. Like hitting a game winner shot, like but jamming that hard, because I've never even dunked the ball. Like I've always been like, that's got to be the best feeling in the world. How does that feel? Like, are you just like floating after? Like, holy fuck, did I just do that?
Nah, dunking on people is fun for sure. Like that's up there. Like you said, I don't know if hitting game winners is fun, a lot of fun, especially you get the walk-off element of it. You know, you the walk off the court, the swag, everything looks cool. But dunking on people is like demoralizing a little bit. You know, taking their like, and it was a rivalry game. So that was a big one. They're like a 30-minute drive away from us, so it was a big time game. So that one was definitely like up there for me in my career, best dunks too.
How are those fans over there, Geno? Is it pretty much kind of like the hockey atmosphere where it's like almost European hockey? I always compare it to, it's like soccer fans over there. Is that similar to what the basketball feel is? And how big are these arenas where you're pulling up to? Is it 5, 10,000, 15,000 people? Just kind of probably depends on the city and the team, but I gotta imagine the support is pretty good for hoops over there.
Yeah, I would say it's probably like, you probably know, like you said, playing over there for hockey, like it's similar to like the soccer culture with the fans. They're really passionate. Like they've been supporting the club since they were kids. It's a family thing for them. So the fans like are great. Home fans are amazing. Like support you through whatever travel. And then the road fans, like the environments are loud. They're hostile. In Germany, we got, I think Berlin probably has the biggest arena. It's probably like 15 to 17,000. Munich after that, I think they're like 10 to 12, but I think they're getting something new built. Our home arena, I think, was 7,000. There's a couple more around that size in the league. And then, everywhere there's a couple small ones that are like 4,000 or 5,000. But
overall, what city were you in?
I was in Oldenburg. It's in the northwest of Germany. Maybe like an hour and 50-minute drive west of Hamburg.
The Baskets, they got creative with that name, the Baskets.
Yeah, there's weirdly a lot of teams, like a lot of clubs that I feel like just, it's like the soccer thing again, right? Where it's like they'll just name it this like Barcelona Football Club, right? Like FC, like they're just like, we're not gonna waste time on a name. Let's just write something up and go play. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, how's shooting that Euro ball though? Does it feel like you're in a 3-point competition with that money ball at all times? Because it's a different rock, man. It's got the
right.
multicolored rock. It's got to feel good in the hands, especially pulling up for a three when you're feeling it. And I wanted to ask you, like, what's your motto out there? Are you mid-range specialist, 3-point guy? I always say over here is Jay Swish: shoot to get hot, shoot to get hot, or shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot. Right? Like,
Right.
I've never seen a shot I didn't like. If that ball comes to me, I'm triggering. So what's your game like? Is it threes? Is it Sean Livingston 2016 to 19 mid-range? Like, talk to me, baby.
No, I'm with it. I like the model. I'm definitely I don't like to shoot a lot of mid range. I'm somewhat of like I know a lot of people in basketball. I'm sure it's in everything now. Baseball people complain, football people complain. I'm sure hockey people complain about analytics and stuff. But I would say I'm a big believer in the analytics, right? Like, the numbers don't lie. It's not like somebody's pulling this out of their ass, right? Like, somebody went and charted everything and said, hey, if you shoot more mid ranges than you do 3-pointers, you're probably not going to do as well.
Right.
Just from a, like, it comes down to, so basically you shoot the same percentage from mid range as you do from three. Like, on average, almost everybody across the board shoots the same percentage, maybe a little bit more on mid range, but you're getting 1 point less per shot. So
threes are smarter to take.
So it's smarter to take threes. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna shoot threes. I'm gonna get to the rim and shoot layups. Every now and then, situationally, you'll be like, okay, I made it good. I got creative space. I'm wide open for a pull up. This is where I'm at, where I need to shoot the ball. But like, in terms of volume, like, I'm definitely a higher volume 3-point guy. Don't take a lot of mid ranges. Again, just from a numbers perspective, like, I'm not gonna make the job harder for me.
Yeah.
Like, and then again, like, and I joke with people, but I'm like half serious, where I'm like, yo, if I have to do all the work to get to the rim and make the shot, like, that's doing a lot, yo. I'm a little lazy. I'm like, yo, if I can make it from here, I'm gonna just shoot from here. Fuck it.
Right. That's actually such a good point, though, because you probably, like you said, the numbers don't lie. Theoretically, you shoot 30 or 40% from the mid-range from an 18-footer, and that's probably what your
I never thought of it like that.
Percentage would be. So why not make it rain, baby? I'm about to pull up from Chef Curry range, and I'm back on deep. I don't even have to look. That thing's in. It's wet.
Every time. Numbers don't lie. Big numbers guy, man. Big numbers guy.
Geno, you have a favorite spot on the wood you like to trigger from? Like, is it like the right elbow or the corner? You're like, fella, I get one here, nobody on me, that thing's in. Like, you know what I mean? Is there one spot on the wood, or is it just kind of,
probably just top of the key. Like, if I get the ball top of the key and just ISO and start doing this and see where the help's coming from, and then get to side step back, something, I'm pretty confident in that every time.
Yeah. And like, we touched on it a little bit before, like earlier, and when we were just chopping it up, but being a 2-time MVP of that British league, I think it's actually called the BBL, right? It's not to be confused with BBL Drizzy or Brazilian butt lift, but it is the BBL. Like, that's a good accomplishment in itself, man, isn't it? Like, you can hang your hat on that. Like, that's a good league, and that for sure. I mean, doing it twice, like, what were you averaging for points? I think I was looking at it was anywhere between like 15 and 18 or something.
Yeah, it was a pretty good league, and like helped me get, like, continue to climb the ladder over there and just keep working my way up into bigger contracts and with better clubs. And yeah, it was like it was a good situation. Like, I was the best player on the best team, so like, it was kind of an easy. There wasn't really much of like an MVP race kind of thing. So it was that all kind of just worked itself out, honestly. Like, I don't know what the hell they was thinking with that.
Yeah, I don't
think they had the foresight to see how popular BBLs were going to be in 2020.
I was looking it up. I was like, "Fuck, is this league based out of South Beach in Miami? Is this the BBL league? Like, what do we got going here? What we got cooking?"
I don't think they had the foresight to see just how many women were going to be getting BBLs, man. It's crazy.
I was gonna say they shooting up everyone over there. God damn. But Geno, hey, I wanted to ask you, college game, coming from North Dakota, like, were you recruited heavily out of, I believe you went to De La Salle High School out of Minnie? Like, were you recruited heavily? And then I guess it's a two-parter. What was the biggest difference between going from North Dakota to Gonzaga? Like, obviously you did really well. at North Dakota as well as Gonzaga, but you're leveling up in terms of conferences, going from the Big Sky to the Pac-12.
Yeah. So the first question, like, I wasn't heavily recruited at all. Like, I was fortunate to play on a really, really good high school team. Like, I think my senior year, like, in my class, we had 2 Division I players. The class after us, we had like 3 or 4. The next class had a bunch. So overall, I think on that team that year, we had like 7 or 8 D1 guys. And I committed early too. Like, I probably should have waited until, because I had a really big senior year. Like, I didn't start my junior year. I came off the bench my junior year. Like, so I didn't play for none of the really big AAU clubs in the cities. Like, I wanted to do my own thing, played on a smaller club, and was just like, I'll just have 30 every game and that'll give me notice. Yeah. But no, it was like, and then I didn't do myself any favors either. I wasn't locked in high school. Like, so I would have like schools that would reach out and be like, yo, why are, like, I could get in. I knew I could get into North Dakota.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Yeah, that's why half of us went there too.
Let me put it that way. I knew I could get in to UND.
It's funny you say that, man, because I think I took the ACT twice. Both times I took it, I think I was still drunk from the night before in high school. And my mom was like, Jordan, you got to take this seriously.
Right.
I think both times I got like a 17 and an 18 just because I would just circle whatever it was. I didn't even care. I wrote my name on it. I would just circle CD, whatever, CD Lamb. It was like I would get out of there and it would be like 17. And like I think Dave Haxtell at the time called me. He's like, you know what? You're in barely. But I'm like, yeah, because I don't give a shit, man. I couldn't even see straight walking into that thing, let alone take a test right now. So North Dakota, God bless them, because you could basically get in there just writing your name on a piece of paper.
For sure. That was the one thing, man. I knew I took. They were the first school to offer me, and I took my visit, and I didn't even have fun on my visit. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't do nothing. Like, my visit wasn't fun. It was early October and it started snowing, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? But I knew I was going to be able to play right away, and I knew I was going to be able to get into school. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Where do I sign? Come on.
Yeah, I like 100%. That. Yeah,
and then
Gonzaga had to have been crazy though once you get there, because that's big time basketball.
Yeah, that was like GU is big time. And so like when I was getting ready, like the transfer, I had all these schools, like, because obviously I had a good career at UND, and I had all these schools. And eventually, like, kind of settled on Gonzaga. Went on my visit out there, and like, I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" Like, it reminds me of like just from an infrastructure perspective, like facilities, staff, like all of that, everything you have access to. Like, it was like how we on the basketball team like looked at everything y'all had with hockey. Like y'all had like everything's taken care of. Like at GU basketball, like everything's taken care of. Like the weight room is the nicest I've ever seen on a basketball campus. Like nutrition, staff, like everything's just up here to where it's like you don't have to worry about anything but playing basketball. Like everything else is going to be taken care of. And then from a basketball perspective, it's like, you're going to come in, you're going to play. Like obviously with their conference, like it's not the ACC or the SEC or nothing. So they stack the non-conference schedule. So you're going to play all these crazy non-conference games. Then in conferences, like when you get in rhythm and you're going to have a chance to make a deep run in the tournament. And so like just with that, like everything was like I felt like I was a professional. Like coming from like what we had at North Dakota with the basketball program, I was like, okay, this is college basketball. Like, okay, whatever. And then I got to Gonzaga. I was like, wait, this is college basketball? Like, this is what it was supposed to be the whole time? Like,
levels.
Yeah, it's a whole different, like.
It couldn't have been Spokane couldn't have, like, I just drove through Spokane, like, a month ago. I couldn't believe. Now, Gonzaga looked sick, but the town, Spokane, do they not have, like, a sign company there? Because all the like, restaurant signs and, like, the business signs, they're all from, like, the 1970s. I'm like, why aren't they updating these signs? They're so old.
Yeah, no,
that's a sign down there. That might be the oldest in the nation.
Yeah, there's for sure a couple restaurants that you're like, yo, y'all, where's the money going? Like, let's get maybe we got to open up a sign company out there or something.
I was thinking
get into some signage, man. But it's a good town, and then they support GU like crazy, man. Yeah. There's not a ton of stuff going on out there, so they're like, the whole Eastern Washington, Western Idaho, like that entire area is just big time Gonzaga fan.
For sure.
That's sick. Geno, I wanted to ask you, like, my favorite hooper of all time is Rasheed Wallace because he wore Air Force Ones on the wood. I have a pair of Rasheed Wallace Air Force Ones dating back to like 2002 or 2004 when they won it. They're actually league issued. But who's your favorite player, NBA player of all time? If you're picking one, it's so hard. But like
That
one
is
guy,
tough.
you're like, damn, like that's my guy.
If I had to go with one, I'll probably say Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
If I just had to pick one, probably Iverson. Like growing up, he was my favorite. Him and KG were my two favorites growing up. But obviously, like I was a smaller guy, so I resonated a lot more with Iverson.
Yeah.
And then just kind of like the swagger he brought, the how hard he played all the time, and then obviously the skill and it's through the roof. But
Yeah.
it was almost with him like all the other stuff too that was cool, like
fashion icon, man. A
Yeah.
cultural legend. Just unreal. Yeah, he was him. I would say, like, okay, I'm gonna give you 3 handles here. Rank them 1, 2, 3. Obviously, 1 being the best. You got AI. You got Jason White Chocolate Williams. Shout out to White Chocolate. 3. I'm gonna give you Kyrie Swerving. If you're ranking the handles, 1 being the best, obviously 3 being the worst. 3 the best, I think, of all time. But how are you ranking these, Geno?
I got Kyrie number 1 over anybody.
Really?
Hands down. Yeah. I think the stuff he does with the basketball is crazy. Like,
He's a magician.
Yeah, he even got the thing where like it looks like he doesn't even have the ball no more. Like he'll lose the ball and doesn't lose the ball. Like so, I consider that a skill almost. Where like with the 2 other guys, like their handle is crazy. They out all the moves. Kyrie has all the moves, but like that one thing I think is what puts him over the top for me. Is like he never loses the ball. Like it looks like it's past him and then he'll snatch it back and get to a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, I'm gonna go White Chocolate. I'm gonna go Jason Williams number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2. He got a really tight handle. Iverson I think has the handle as well, but I think Jason Williams just has a little more, like a little more to him. Like he's got more of the street ball thing going on. Whereas Iverson, like he got a really tight handle, but it was like efficient. It's like I'm such a good scorer that I'm just using the handle to get to my spot. Whereas like with Jason Williams, he's like, nah, I'm about to cross you up, embarrass you a little bit.
He is street ball.
Throw something in there at the end, like I would say that's my 1, 2, 3.
Because Jay Willie, I mean, he had that like and one mixtape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cooking Up Hot Sauce style, The Professor, where he's almost like you said, he's trying to embarrass you actually than beat you, right? Like he wants to put you on roller skates, make you fall down a couple times, bust your ankles, and then like dish it no look behind the back. He was nasty with it. How does Kyrie get left off the Olympic team though? Like that's crazy to me. I guess you have Drew Holiday, the glove. You need him on D, a couple other point guards. But to me, like just from a raw skill standpoint, like they could use that guy coming up here in Paris. I mean,
I don't know. That's a weird one. Because obviously he's got the experience too. And I think Team USA, like they tend to go with experience a lot. Like if they have guys that have been there before that want to do it, they're like, yeah, come on. So I don't know. I don't know if it's he fell out of favor with those guys over there or something behind the scenes. Obviously he's not the most well-liked person by everybody.
Yeah.
He's got his own stuff going on.
That had to play a factor.
But it seems like the guys in the league like him. It's just like executives or the outside, how their view. Because anytime anyone ask a player about him, they're like, yeah, like this guy's, we like him.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's maybe like an establishment type of thing. He's a little outspoken, so the people behind the scenes aren't a big fan of that at all times. So I have a feeling that that's got to have something to do with it, or maybe they're just like, hey, we feel like we're good enough to win anyways. We don't need any possible distractions.
Right.
Not even saying that he would, because I don't think like he had a great year this year. Nothing off the court, no issues. But maybe they're just like, hey, we know that something like this could flip with him, and we just don't want to deal with it.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It sucks. Like,
I know.
Send the best guys.
That team is so hard to pick, though. You got 3 guys from the Boston Celtics, and then you leave out the Finals MVP. It's like,
I know.
what the hell's happening here?
Right. I think it's always interesting, like, to think about. I feel like with that, what goes into picking the team? Are we going to pick the 12
Yeah,
best guys?
you got to pick role
Are
players.
we going to pick? Yeah, and that's why I think some guys fit in better. Like Drew Holiday, for example. I'm a big fan of Drew Holiday, and I think he fits in well. The last time he went for the Olympics or World Cup, whatever it was, like, he was a big piece because he does all those little things. You know, he doesn't need to have the ball. He doesn't need 10 ISOs ran for him. And I think you need a handful of those guys because you got LeBron, who needs the ball in his hands. You got Curry, who's going to get his touches. You got Booker, who's better on the ball. You got KD, who needs the ball in his hands. You got, AD, who wants to have the ball. You got Jason Tatum, who's a ball dominant player. You got all these guys that need to have the ball, get to their stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing, but it's also, like, I feel like for those guys that, like, if you want to play for your country, you'll be willing to take up a role for a week,
100%. Then you got Ant Edwards coming on saying, "Hey boys, you just don't get it twisted. I'm the number one option."
Anthony, I completely forgot. They're stacked, and I completely forgot about it.
They're so sick. Like, Gino, do you think there's any other country, just seeing it internationally now, seeing some other players, different leagues, do you think there's any other country, if the Americans, the U.S. team, they play up to snuff, like, no one can touch those guys, no? Like,
no, if they're playing, the way they're expected to, then I don't think so. But that's obviously, with sports, you can have an off night. Like, it can happen. And if the other team is clicking, like a couple teams, there's some teams that even on a bad night, obviously the USA can beat them. But you look at a France, who else is good? Spain is good this year. Spain's always good. Yeah. France, Serbia.
Germany won the World Cup last time.
Germany could get them. Germany's got a good team. They're like basketball. It's all these other countries are they're good, man. I don't want to say they're catching up necessarily.
Yeah.
There's still, I think a really big gap at the top. But in terms of, like, being able to field a good team of 12 guys, and then you got to think too, like, these guys play together. They get camp reps, whereas our guys don't always go to the USA camp. They don't always play in the exhibition games and friendly competitions and stuff. So in a perfect storm, like, those guys can lose. But if they can find 5 guys that are having a good night, like, nobody can beat them.
Well, back when the Dream Team when they played, I think they play in the total Olympics. There's, like, on the other teams, there's 8 NBA players. Yeah. This year, I think there's like 62 or 72 NBA players on the other teams. So, like, they are getting better.
Yeah, I seen that graphic the other day too, and I'm like, yeah, it sounds right though. Like, there's a lot of guys. Obviously, the NBA is full of international guys now, and then even over there, like, the guys that aren't in the NBA that are playing in their domestic leagues in their countries, like, they're good players. Like, the German team has the top guys from the German league, and then a handful of guys from the NBA coming back. So, like, they're putting together a good team. Same with France, same with the Spains and all those teams. Like, it's good basketball.
Even Canada's not bad anymore.
Yeah,
like,
Canada's good. Canada's good. I mean, yeah.
They got my guy that I trained with at Exos down in Phoenix a couple years ago. They got Jamal Murray, aka Jamal Furry. He's balling. He's Canada, right? And they got who else? Shea Alexander, a couple other guys. Like, they're not
Dylan
bad.
Brooks.
Yeah, no, Canada's good. They've had some good players for a while. I think the problem was I had heard that the organization wasn't really great, so a lot of the guys didn't want to go back to play for Canada. They just didn't want to deal with all of that. But I think they said they got some new leadership in there now. They got a new coach, and so they're getting almost all hands on deck. I think Wiggins is probably the only big name guy that isn't playing for them this summer.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
So
hey, Wiggins, yeah.
Man,
nice player.
That'd be a grind after a full season, especially going deep in the playoffs. Like, basketball, I mean, I know hockey is hard conditioning wise, but, like, basketball, if you're on the court, if you're on the floor the whole time, I mean, is there another sport that's more tiring on your body?
Knees? How's your lower back? Oh, running the wood, the 94 feet wood. Like,
that's why I think LeBron's the craziest human to ever live.
Yeah.
How is he doing it?
Yeah.
Nah, well, he's unreal. He knows some shit that nobody else knows.
Yeah, he's got some alien type whatever pills he's taken from Mars or something, like. Yeah, human.
LeBron's unreal, man. But that's sports though, like, in general, like, all of it's taxing in some way or another, besides maybe like ping pong or something. But
Yeah.
even then, I suppose mentally
Fishing.
that's just probably tough.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Fishing, if you're a pro fisherman, it's just tough on your liver because you're out
Because
there.
I know, like with hockey, man, like I've skated a handful of times in my whole life, and that shit, bro, fucking hips are cooked at the end,
Oh
bro.
man, it ain't good for the hips. No,
Hips, lower
it
back,
ain't natural.
growing.
There's no way.
No,
Yeah.
it's not perfect.
Gino, do you ever get outside and just walk up to a park in Minneapolis or anything and try to bust some ass out there in a pickup game? Like, does that happen? Like, you head to the Y, or are you over those days? Like, you can't risk getting injured.
Yeah,
by
no,
one of those
not too
guys?
much anymore, man. Not too much. Which is unfortunate because I've seen, like, obviously just on Instagram and stuff, like it's kind of, I feel like, kind of post COVID, like everything's taken longer than expected to get back to normal. But I
Mhm.
feel like post COVID, like now the basketball scene is kind of coming back around the city. Like you can find people at parks and
Yeah.
playing and stuff. And like I used to, like in college, if I always kept shoes in the car. If somebody hit me up and be like, yo, we're out here, let's go. I'd be like, all right, yeah, I'll pull up. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
cool. Now, man, I'm just like, I
Too-
work out. I'm like,
too
yo, I'm gonna work
risky.
out. I'll
Yeah.
get it in during my workouts, man. And then we've got, like, we're fortunate to have I don't know if you've seen, I post some stuff about it now, and then the Pro-Am, the Twin Cities Pro-Am, where a bunch of us
Yeah.
like pro guys that are back, and then some college guys and a couple high school guys get in. And we get like a little league going in the summer. And they do that all around the country. A lot of places, a lot of cities have Pro-Ams. So that's usually where I get my conditioning in, cardio and try and get game reps that way. But other than that, I'm at the point in my career where I'm just like, I wake up in the morning, go work out in the gym by myself, get my lift in, get some stretches, and that's it for the day. I'm not gonna go
Right.
play in a bunch of
Yeah.
5-on-5 and shit. Like I don't have anything to prove anymore. Like even in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Pro-Am, like a couple years ago, the NBA guys that are playing, I'm like, yeah, I want to go at them. Like I want to kill them and all this. And now, like, I got all these young guys that are wanting to go at me. I'm like, shit, I don't need to play in this no more, man. Like,
Roles are
Goes
reversed.
around, comes around.
yeah.
Gino, I wanted to ask you, like, just the purest form of the game. If you had to pick on an outdoor blacktop court, are you going chain net or are you going cotton? Like, there's something about the chain for me when you hit one, it's just cash. It's like, oh, baby.
It feels so good
Yeah.
because you got the double fucking rim.
Yeah.
You had no give there.
Nah, the chain, there's like, it's something about the chain net, man. I feel like everybody feels that way though. Like it's
Yeah.
something like the sound, the like you said, it's a bad rim. So there's a little bit more like you had to shoot the ball perfect to get it in there. Like there's something nostalgic and just like really, really I don't know, rewarding
Right.
about hearing that the clink of the chain net. But it's like I feel like you don't see it a lot too much anymore. Maybe a safety thing. I don't know. People's fingers. I know I've seen people's fingers get caught up in the net.
Yeah.
100%. Especially if you're trying to throw down on one of those nets, it gets tangled up.
Yeah, it can be nasty. I've seen some nasty stuff happen with the chain nets. But man, shit. I get a hoop in the backyard one day.
Is there
throwing
any-
a chain on there for sure.
You got it.
Throwing a chain on there.
Gino, I wanted to ask you, like, the $1 million worth of the game, that pod, they had KD on one time, and they were talking about just like pick up legends, like they called it like hood legends or whatever. Is there any guys that you've ever played with that didn't play at a high level, maybe in college, or just guys you've ran with in mini or pulled up in other cities and be like, this guy is so good, but he never made it. He's just kind of like a local outdoor court legend. Is there any guys in mini like that? Is there any, you've seen through your years, like, fuck, this guy's nice, but he didn't play anywhere?
I wouldn't say like maybe to the extent that those guys have seen. I know in other places around the country, there's guys that, probably could have had a shot at the league.
Right. Like New York
But I
City
definitely growing up know guys that should have been playing in college at the least.
Yeah.
And they just either ain't all there mentally, ain't committed, or get into system, dumb shit, end up where they were supposed to be. So there's definitely some of that. But I also believe that like part of the reason you don't get there is that you're just not there. Like it could be mentally, but like that's a big part of it. You got, again, as athletes, like y'all understand that. Like it ain't just about,
who's the best on the court.
Exactly. There's a lot that goes into being a college athlete, to being a professional athlete. Like, and the guys that get there are supposed to be there, and the guys that aren't, like there was something some part of the equation that you missed, you know?
Yeah, for sure. There's always guys in hockey like that too, where they're like a burnout or they got into the wrong shit and it's
just
like
nasty, but then they're then they walk around after like, I could have played. Just couldn't hack it. Like,
right. And it's like, like for you guys, like, and I can only speak because I seen you guys like doing it at the highest level. Like, it's like, no, there's a lot of pressure on y'all at UND. Like, everybody's eyes are on y'all. Could get into anything you wanted out there, but like y'all have to stay the course. You got to be locked in enough. And like some guys can't do it. I mean, even once you get there, like basketball, there's guys that get there and they just can't figure it out. Like all of a sudden they're out of school, and then like you said, they're talking about it. They could have did this, should have did this. It's like, nah, man, all that other shit is part of the deal. Like, you gotta,
it is
part of the deal.
It's part of it, man.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
But bigger than I'd like to admit. I mean, it kind of sucks that it is part of it because you just want to play, but at the end of the day, you do have to do all that other stuff, and you know what you're signing up for.
Ozzo, you got anything else for Geno?
No, I mean, that was awesome, Geno.
That was
Thanks for
awesome,
making
man.
the time. Yeah, that was fun for us. We always talk hockey, but we talk basketball, and we talk about the NBA, obviously, and some of our listeners chirp us a little bit for it. Like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about basketball. I'm like, yeah, we don't care. We know we don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
But we love it. So, like, we're going to talk about it. So, fuck you.
We're talking about the triangle offense, off the ball shit. It's like, what are these guys talking about? Just stick to hockey, fellas. I'm like, no, I actually watch the league, man. Come on.
Right. And that's the thing, like, I feel like people fucking feel a weird ownership over sports and shit, bro. It's like, you don't have to know it. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know shit about soccer, bro. And I'll turn that shit on, and as soon as somebody scores a fucking goal, I'm running around the house. Like, I don't gotta know what the fuck happened. I seen the shit go in the goal. Like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like hockey fans feel like you're not allowed to like basketball. You know, there's those hockey heroes who are like, oh, basketball, soft, can't fight, don't hit each other. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, basketball's nails.
Yeah.
No, like, and even an example, right? Like, I have no idea why or when you're allowed to fight in the NHL.
Yeah.
But I know every time I see that shit on Twitter, I'm going to watch it. Every single time. No matter what, I'm going to watch. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they're allowed to fight, but I like it.
Yep.
Don't have to know everything about it to like the shit, man. Like,
yep. 100%. That's the best part about hockey. You can fight at any time. Anytime, Ozzo. Anytime you want to go.
I mean, you can do it in warm-ups if you want to. You're just probably not going to play.
That's crazy.
Someone looks at you the wrong way across the red line, the wires cross, you just shed your laundry and start throwing.
That's crazy, bro. I would.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, they always say in hockey, Geno, I'm not a fighter, but they always say throw first, ask questions later, right? Make sure you get the first one in because it can come right back on your grill. Well, no, man, we'll have to have you on mid-season at some point if you're willing to do it again, because get an update how it's going in Germany. Maybe ask you how Oktoberfest was. Did you have a couple, this and that? But thanks for coming on, man. That was awesome. That was a great chat and just just hanging out, shooting the shit. So
yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun. It was fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah, good luck this season. Hope you and the fam are doing well and enjoying your time together. It's got to be cool having kids being a professional basketball player. Like they get to see that a little bit. Your daughters, I think you got 2 daughters, right? So that's got to be unbelievable.
Yeah, it is, man. Sometimes I'm like, it would be nice, to do how most of the people do, where it's just you can just focus on you. You got all this extra money because you ain't spending it on kids. You do the going out thing way more often. Which I did my first couple of years, but now like it's really fun having them experience all of that, get to be around the arenas pregame and after the game in the locker room and getting to go down on the court. They love it. So it's fun, man. It's super, super fulfilling,
Yeah,
for sure.
That's sweet. Got the old gang with you. That's awesome. All right, folks. Well, that was Geno Crandall, European basketball player. Folks, 2-time BBL MVP.
I'm not even gonna say nothing.
Tryna diss me, I need you 6 feet. She say she miss me, then she wanna kiss me. Damn, I'm so crispy. Sam got me this.